On September 4th, a tragedy unfolded at Apalachee High School. 14-year-old Colton Gray, one of the school's students, left his class to retrieve a gun he had stored in his backpack. When he returned to his classroom, the doors were locked. But a nearby room wasn't secured, and that is where his rampage began. Within 6 minutes, many were wounded, and 4 lives were tragically lost. Richard Aspinwall, Christina Irami, Mason Schermerhorn, and Christian Angulo. Please, let's have a moment of silence to honor all of those victims and the other victims that were impacted by this senseless tragedy. Thank you. The ripple effects of gun violence reach far beyond the immediate chaos. They permeate our communities, our hospitals, and our hearts. I remember the shock and sorrow that gripped our community that day. I remember my husband's voice, a former educator and coach, who told me he did not know Ricky, but his friends did, and they were hurting. And so he was hurting too. When our friends hurt, we hurt. When our communities suffer, we suffer. 3 weeks ago, I had the pleasure of meeting a teacher who teaches at the nearby middle school. The teacher stated that the school went into lockdown just before her class's lunch period. The teachers were instructed to lock the doors, lock the windows, close the blinds. The kids were instructed to move to the back of the room, to turn their phone ringers off, and to be quiet. They sat for hours in fear with no credible information. Messages like, "There are multiple shooters. I think they're in our school. The police don't know what they are," were the types of messages that were coming across their phones. When the officers arrived to escort the students at the middle school to safety, many of the classroom doors were barricaded from inside. The noise from doors being slammed open, piles of desks and furniture being cleared were indistinguishable from gunshots. Our next speaker is in the state of Georgia. There are at least 42 distinct licensing boards that administer professional license. These boards cover a wide range of professions, including healthcare, engineering, real estate, education, cosmetology, and many, many more. Additionally, other licenses are necessary for activities like driving, hunting, and fishing. You need a license to purchase tobacco. You need a license to purchase alcohol. You need a license to be a school teacher, to sell coffee, or to sell merchandise door to door. But in the state of Georgia, you do not need a license to own a gun. Now, what is the common sense in that? I want to read to you really quickly a part of the interview, because I believe Shelby did a great job of sharing some of the comments that our Congressman Mike Collins has shared in the past. But this interview was conducted on September 5th, the day after the shooting. And he said, "More God, more prayers." People are holding up because they have a strong faith in God. Prayers are being lifted up. I just encourage everybody out there, please, just continue to pray for those who didn't get to make it home yesterday. It's times like this that your faith really comes to play. I love God. I have a great relationship with God. And James 2:14 says, "Faith without works is dead." Romans 14:19 says, "Let us therefore make every effort to do what leads to peace and to mutual edification." I believe in the Second Amendment, but we need common sense gun legislation too. In February 2020, we became aware of a shooting death of Armed Arbery, a resident of Brunswick, Georgia. When the video of the shooting became publicly available, the people of Brunswick got to work. They began with protests, public outcry. They called on their local leaders to do something. When the news media finally caught up with the Glenn County District Attorney to ask why no charges were filed, she recited Georgia's Stand Your Ground law and stated that those gentlemen were within their rights to do what they had done. So the citizens of that county used the most powerful tool they have, which was their vote. And on November 4th, they voted her out of office.